A generation is born in war. As the U.S. leaves Saigon, the Vietnamese Communist government unites the country. A policy of food subsidy called Bao Cap is enforced, and millions of people suffer from hunger and famine. The community comes together to survive. 20 years later, the country opens its doors and economic prosperity is embraced. A new generation is born, with a worldly view, and the old culture of community is challenged by a new culture of individualism.
My name is Phùng Xuân Vũ. During Bao Cap period, I was the food collector for my family. As a child, the most remembered thing for me is the hunger. My family suffered as one of the typical ones from North Vietnam and believe in ideology of communism. I remember my family of 5 people got about 50 pounds of rice a month. We were lack of anything. Bao Cap is a traumatic time in Vietnam, I can say for the whole country, because we united in 1975. North Vietnam, as the winner, they have Bao Cap for the whole country. They try to make everyone equal. They try to make people happy. They try to subsidize everything. They try to give everyone the same food. They give everyone the same healthcare, education, everyone equal. I really suffer from that, better than enjoy that. Even they're saying, their propaganda convinced the system is good and everybody equal, well looked after. We all equal in poverty, and they try to convince their system look after everyone better than the other side in a capitalist world. Of course, it's not very clear for the little boy of 9 years old, 10 years old, like me. But I can feel the hard life my I myself suffer from, and my family and my neighbors suffer from. You need food. You need a good house, comfortable house. We didn't have it. I was quite young to understand that when I was a boy, but grow more older, I more understand. What happened is not the way they expected to do for the people, but opposite way.
My name is Chien. My father was in the army, and he was about to go down south to fight. When I was born, he was not at home. And before he left, he said that if we had a son, name him Chien. Chien means fighter, because I'm a fighter. And I think that my name is like my destiny, and I have been fighting my whole life since my childhood until now to get better education and to get better life, to get better future for me and for the generations to come. When I was a kid, I would have rice for breakfast, for lunch and dinner. It would be ideal if we had something else to go with rice. For example, vegetables or fish sauce or tofu or egg or meat. But normally we only had rice with some vegetables. That's all. And sometimes we did not even have vegetables. We only had rice alone. We have a saying that rice is the mother of your stomach. It means that it's very important. So you can do without everything else except rice. You must have rice.
I'm Liu Kinglian. My friends call me Dad, and I'm the artist. I was born here in Hanoi in 1999. It's not in the Bao Cap area, it's after the Bao Cap area. So this song is called Flowers. Trời sáng đường vắng, trong sương sớm long lanh, mặt nước kênh trời ta bao hoa lá xung quanh. Em muốn mang mình theo gió, xuôi tóc ngang bờ vai êm đềm, rồi một cánh hoa nhỏ mới bên con bướm xinh xinh nhẹ khẽ em đã xuống qua bên cánh hoa kia. Em ước cao là cây lá, em tên mang cành hoa mới bay về nhà. We're eating trứng vịt lộn. It's like boiled duck egg. For Westerners or like foreigners, people usually think that this is really nasty. There are something like inside, but it hasn't fully grown, so we just boil that thing. It sounds so creepy. Like my parents make me eat this when I was a little kid all the time. My mom's ideal women model would be doing chores and doing what the man in the house tells you to do. She expects me to do so, but that creates a problem, like family conflicts. If the man can play, then the woman can play. You have no right to like restrict somebody from doing something that they love or they're born, their destiny to do so. I'm still fighting for it now, in my family and in the society as well. Like in Vietnam, like maybe like 60% of the population think that the woman has to do the chores all the time and has to take care of the family's members all the time. There is one coffee brand all over Vietnam named It's in Cộng sản, and basically is communism in Vietnamese. We can all know that because look at the logos. It has stars and red flags and everything. And the style there, like in the decoration, there are books that was written in Russian. We can all know what that means. So yeah, I just think that some of them were like embracing the Bao Cap style in a different way. It's like coming back to your childhood home. I think in Vietnam, Bao Cap like kind of means vintage. It's like some sort of like old periods of time related.
Now I know that some young people in their 20s have a nostalgia for the Bao Cap area. They would go to Gong Cafe, where they had artifacts dating back to the periods. They had simple stuff, and it is like trendy to look thin, because those kids have not undergone that period. For them, it was fun, but for us, it was hell.
They don't understand, especially young people. Even they don't know, or they can't imagine what it looked like. They can sit in the cafe and have the fancy drink, or sit in Bao Cap style restaurants, more for curiosity. It's far to make children understand what happened, or even imagine what Bao Cap looked like. So it's like a fiction story, and I'm afraid that they don't understand, or they don't believe it. Old generations feel like, oh, and not many of them are easy to accept that. They don't like it, and they feel the gap of the generation.
I think that people like my parents aren't really like fond of going to vintage Bao Cap style coffee spots, because they've spent their like 20, 50, I don't know, maybe 30 years of their life living in that period. But like, why would you have to go to places with that concept when you've already lived in that concept?
In my childhood, I would know everybody in my village, because there were like only 500 homes in the whole village. But now we have 100,000 people living in this area. So we could no longer know many people. In the urbanized area, it's changing. In the difficult time, if you share their burden, if you share their hardship, if you help them in times of need, that would be highly appreciated. But now, everybody was kind of better off. So it is very hard to offer help. It's kind of, you don't even have opportunity.
And I can recognize also the young people now, they are more selfish. They are strong for thinking, but they also selfish. They not like me or my parents who have a very strong community. My family comes originally from Nam Định province, which is about 60 miles south of Hanoi. Many people are farmers, peasants. They make living from growing rice and crops and have the animals.
For us children in the countryside, we were lucky because our parents were farmers and we had good rice. And for children from workers' family, their rice was not that good because their rice was stockpiled in the national reserves for at least 1 year. So the quality changed. So you ate that, you ate filth, you know.
My house in Nam Dinh city, very basic, made of thatch roof and bamboo. My parents cut the bamboo and make the frame, and they use the rice straw and clay to smooth it.
We are at the Museum of the Countryside in Nam Dinh province, and this museum features a lot of artifacts dating to the Subsidy Period in the 1970s and 80s. So here we are at the actual house of a poor peasant family. You could see that there are like 5 or 7 people packed in this small house. Grandmother, the parents and the children. So normally 3 generations. So this house was made of wood and the roof was with straw or rice stalk. For some structure, they would have the earthen wall rather than just the wooden plank. They also have a small kitchen in front and a pigsty at the back. They had the pigsty, but it does not necessarily mean that they would have a pig in there, because where could they find the food for the pig? It's another matter, because the pigs usually fed on the leftovers from the people, from the humans. But in hard times, we did not leave any food left, so forget about that. This is In Vietnamese, we call it cối giã gạo, which means we put the grains into that hole and then we would power it up like this. Okay. And one session like this would last 1 hour and 2 hours, depending on the amount of grain you put in there. And it is also an ideal place for young people, for a dating venue for a lot of young people in the countryside in the old days. The boy would come and pretended to help the girl with this rice mashing session, and they could have a lot of good time together. Even for hard job, we still find fun in that. And I remember very well my uncles and my aunts and my relatives smashing rice with this throughout the night, and they were really having fun. And sometimes I try to help, but they say, "Go away. This is none of your business." In Vietnam, we had a good tradition of humor. And whenever they had a break during work shift, they would get together and tell funny stories and laugh. It was a good way to forget the hardship.
I was a boy, and my older brother is nearly 2 years older than me. We have a mission to collect food for the family every month. Two things very important for our mission is the Chinese bicycle. The bicycle is something very luxury, for Vietnamese in those days, including my family. My mother and my father contributed a lot for the government, and they have a privilege to have that bike, whose brand is Phoenix. And we use that bike every month to carry the rice and cereal, from the cart to my family. We just use that like the two-wheel cart to carry the heavy sacks of rice or sweet potato or corn or wheat, from the place where we can have it from the government to my home. And the second thing is the booklet for coupons. It's like an old paper small book with different squares inside for different things, and food supplied from the government stores. The meat, vegetables, even the small thing like tofu also have the coupon. I like to ride the bicycle around and show my friends how good I am on the bicycle. Many of them don't have it. So riding the bicycle around the brickyards where we're living is something very special and very proud. Until we finish the Bao Cap period, we still using that old Chinese bicycle for traveling. And my mother gave it to me when I was the second year student in Hanoi. And I keep using that bicycle until I graduated from my university, and I gave it to my fiancé. We met each other in the university. We fell in love, and after graduation, unfortunately, it was stolen when she parked it in the city, and it made my family very sad. And I even cried for days when it happened, because the bicycle, stick with my life like a very, very good friends. And I would never wanted to leave it. I never wanted to say goodbye to the best friend of my childhood.
To my dad's generation, I think his definition is about happiness or all about wealth and money. In my generation, we started to feel like happiness wasn't about money, it was about expressing ourselves. It was about freedom of speech, of mind, and of creativity. Right now, people are into more like vintage, retro style. I started to borrow more clothing from my dad. It was all about nostalgia for the past. I just wanted to wear what I wanted to. And somehow people just say that I have some sort of like Bao Cap related style. I really want to show you the market because it's like a maze there. It was full of vintage clothing. Ở đây có mấy con? Hay lắm ơi.
Look perfectly matched. Look like a Korean mom.
Không à? I mean, I do express myself, but through like chasing my dreams. My dad is really keen on getting me into some sort of like financial university, but I didn't agree, and then I just applied into an art school. And I think that's some sort of like revolutionary stuff for me. But he was just thinking that doing my stuff and following my dreams and, you know, expressing myself wouldn't provide me like wealth or what he had achieved. His whole youth, his whole mind was about making money to provide like money and food and survival stuff for the family. So I think I cannot change the way he feels anymore. And for him, what he has achieved is like the top of it all. Like, this is what you need. This is what your whole life needs. You don't need anything else. So you better listen to me, because I'm old and you're young, and I've like lived like 80 years. And you're just a kid. So you better listen to me or your life will be screwed.
in our culture, they always try to pass experiences and advices to the young one. They want them to listen, they want them to obey. And one day, the country opened this much, and young people know everything from internet, and they are more knowledgeable. Of course, they have also better educations and information from TV, from newspapers, but also from internet.
Before 1945, the art was about the community. The artists were not recognized. We still don't know who they are. I just visited an art gallery, and the artists started to write their names onto the canvas and started to like, hey, this is my work of art. This is my individualism. And then I think that started something like revolution, when individualism starting to take over the art scene. It upset some people, especially old people.
Because the children become more independent. They don't try to listen to the adults. And sometimes they also say back that they know better. They even advise the parents or even grandparents the way they can do this better, the way they can fix this issue better. And
but the point is that you should know the hardship of the older generation in order to cherish, to treasure what you have, in order to avoid repeating the past mistakes, the past hardships. It was hard. It was very hard, very tough. So we were trying to make fun of our hardship in order to laugh away our trauma. But the trauma, the hardship, is still there. Because life cannot stay the same forever. Life is changing all the time. So I don't have a nostalgia for all the past activities during the subsidy period, the Bao Cap era. Because the more important thing now is to adapt to the changing world, to the changing life.
For me, the gap doesn't bother me because I am the modern father. I am modern parent. But I say again, for most of Vietnamese family, it does bother them.
Oh, I think that the younger generation in Vietnam now can be united by also a shared value, which is the national pride. It's nationalism, patriotism. If we can encourage them to work together to make Vietnam strong and mighty, then we can unite the young generation.
I would love to see Vietnam change. I think my generation would feel the same way too. But overall, I think I just want the equality for women in Vietnam and all over the world. We all have freedom to express ourselves and to chase our dreams.
I hope my children can have the happiness, not only for food, but also for human right. And I hope if the young generation of Vietnam recognize it, and if they have the support from the country, Vietnam should go much further ahead.
Cho tôi mơ về tình nhân, cho tôi mơ về chiều nắng hôn em, cho tôi sớm mai thức dậy bên em, cho tôi mơ về ai ẩn. Nhân gian quanh ta mấy ai tin vào tình yêu xa